Bulldog. After graduating in 1994 from William Penn Senior High School, Marjorie spent several years in the community as a professional barber, a youth counselor, and later a correctional officer with the York County Prison. A growing interest in service soon led to the employment with the York City School District. I won't lie to you guys, every time I see Commissioner Marjorie's bio, it turns into a book because he accomplishes more and more every time I see him. So I won't cut into any of his time. I'll just like to introduce one of my favorite people in the world, Commissioner Michael Marjorie.
All right, let me adjust this for the short people again.
Yes.
All right, can everybody hear me okay? Yeah. All right. So, good afternoon, beloved. To Tavon and all the panelists who are here presenting, being transparent, and sharing your stories in an effort to try to help somebody else. I want to let you know right now, all the time that you've spent pouring into kids and our community, I want to let you know I'm here to take some time to pour into you. So please allow me to preface things with a bit of a disclaimer. I come in peace, but I want to let you know in advance, I may step on some toes. I may get myself in trouble or just take this thing off script for a bit. But I gotta be faithful and I have to follow my heart. What's in a name? Felon is such a heavy label. The dictionary defines felon as a person who has committed a felony, a crime typically involving violence regarded as more serious and usually punishable by imprisonment for at least a year or even death. Offenders with higher impulsivity, lower anxiety, greater hostility. A person inclined to exhibit negative and harmful behaviors and acts not readily under their own control. And I don't know about your faith in this room today, but the Bible says, in just 2 points, there is power in our words, life and death, in fact. And a name inherently exercises constraint upon a person to conform to it. In the Hebrew thought, names are inextricably tied to existence. Nothing exists unless it has a name. Meaning this, the names we give things and the names we call ourselves will ultimately help decide the things, decide for all of us, and dictate the shape it will take and the direction it will grow. So as a God-fearing, life-wielding society, I contend we gotta be careful about the names and the labels we throw on people. We have to be careful about what we say and what we title folks. So to Tavon Parker, I need you to know, when I see you, when I hear your name, as I think of you, which I often do, as I watch you move in this life, I don't see a felon and all the stigma that comes with it. I see a son, a brother, and a husband. When I think of you, I think of builder, planner, and influencer of men. When I hear what people are saying about you, I hear names like inspiration, mentor, overcomer, champion, and entrepreneur. I see a person that's trying harder and doing more for other people than many of the quote unquote good people who stand in judgment of you, ringing bells of shame, clutching their pearls, and turning up their nose. I need you to know, when I'm in rooms with people like the system leaders that came here today, your name's not being mentioned Your name's being mentioned and it's coming up often. Mentioned by me and everybody else. And those names today sound like trauma healer, sound like prayer warrior, vision caster, life changer, role model, example, leader, father, and a person I call friend. Listen, youngin', I don't know what all you did back then, and I refuse to read the paperwork, because the imperfect me I see in the mirror every morning looks at you each and every day, and I still see the boy that was class president and the man who will one day be known for helping change this community and change the world. I hope you and every single one of these panelists here today know you are so much more than your circumstances. You are so much more than your record. You are so much more than your past mistakes, more than your labels, or what that paperwork or headline said about you the day God decided to intervene in your life so he could take you down a path to something greater. I know I'm supposed to be up here today to talk to you all as a cop who's always tried to show everyone respect, or a police chief who believes in giving people second chances, or even the leader of a police department who is right now offering these young boys opportunity scholarships if they're willing to just meet me halfway, stop shooting, put their guns down, and work towards something better. Right. But today's not about me or what I'm doing. Instead, I choose to use my time and this platform I have this Saturday morning to speak life over each and every person in this room who has ever made a mistake, to help Tavon, help God, help our society be willing to look at things a little differently, to leave space for people to turn things around. And remember, nobody's perfect and everybody's worth a second chance. I'm here to prayerfully shake things up and say something to help change the name someone in the room has been stuck in repeat calling themselves year after year, and break that continual chain of self-doubt and self-sabotage. So I need to be able to take this time and say something that I need you to hear from me when I say it. I was sent here today empowered by God himself to take that scarlet letter off you. Note, young people, you'll catch that later when you read it. If you're listening, I'm relabeling you right now and changing the narrative. So Tavon, Miss Margaret, Brother Casper, Big Boat Right, Jamil, Marquise, Berto, I see you in the crowd. Miss Yolanda, baby girl, I see you too. And the rest of these esteemed panelists and guests here today. From this day forward, your title's no longer felon. You are merely a person with a past. Catalyst for someone's change, the hero of your own redemption story. And as I head back to my seat, dare I offend or exceed my 5 minutes? On behalf of everybody in this room today, I just want to say, thank you, Lord, for the things you don't hold us accountable for. Thank you for the names you don't call us. Thank you for the ways you continue to use people. Thank you for the places you still allow us to go and the grace you show each and every day, even though none of us really deserves it. And thank you for allowing me to be here today. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Man, let that breathe for a second. And when every time he speaks, I get emotional because obviously being born and raised in Europe, people see me come from a kid and see all the mistakes. And one of my favorite Bible verses is Jeremiah 29:11. And I feel like I'm a living testament of that because a lot of the things that we go through are just preparing us for that next step. It's actually a learning and a teaching moment for our lives. So I'm very, very thankful for that. The next part of this panel, the next section of this panel is going to be facilitated by my brother Jamil Alexander. And so as he comes, can we give him a round of applause?
Hello, family. questions, and Commissioner, thank you. He always takes the glory. I appreciate it, TP. You know I love you, bro, King. Your wife, your daughter, and the one more to come, TP3 to the 4. I love you. We're gonna so there's a total of 9 question panelists, and all of you have them. But in the interest of time, I picked out 5, right? And as a life reformer, there's levels of like I want to kind of focus on the community aspect because as much as Brother Tavon mentioned, as far as like him, my personal experience was the community and the support coming as a returning citizen from Philadelphia. There were some trials and some tribulations, but I do appreciate YC and some of the programs that help. So with that being said, my first question is going to go to number 3 as far as like, do you think the community supported you in your re-entry journey? Anybody ask, we'll take 2 or 3 and then we'll kind of go from there. Yes, sir.
Yes, I am truly grateful. My community here, York, was very, very, very supportive. People from all different walks of life. People like you, your wife, I mean, have been everybody, there's been so much support, overwhelming, man. That's why I encourage people to embrace this change because it's worth it and this community will support you and love on you, man, and help you. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
Yeah, I would definitely say that there was community for me. We had talked earlier about the drug court program. That was something that I was actually in. It was a life-changing experience. There's a great amount of resources out there that we really don't know about until you actually need them. And it was for that community. I went to like AA classes, NA classes, and found there's a community of people out there on the same path as you. You think that you're one of the few people in the world that have committed these issues and stuff like that, and we're going through these events, and then you find out that there's doctors, there's lawyers, there's teachers, there's mothers, fathers. Everybody has different things going on in their life, and they're all looking for just an opportunity to correct that. So that kind of community and understanding that you're not, an alien to society, you're not a burden to society, you're just a human being, is definitely beneficial for me.
Much appreciated. Thank you. Another one? One more?
Hi, I'm Yolanda Peaches. Yes, what I would say is when I first came back, it was the resources, like the Atkins program, which is no longer, now it's the Covenant, I believe, the Covenant House for Girls and Boys. I did that program. I would say that program was very impactful, which I can't really say it was the whole entire community. It was what the Atkins program had set forth for us women coming out, like Crystal's Place, RIP to Miss Crystal, the Salvation Army, those places where my kids go now, who I did community service with, what I would say was impactful. I would say overall, personally, the community, for those that may have had their own personal thoughts of me before I went, I didn't have much support from them, but it was just the love and care from my mother and family members, my sisters, my brothers, that allowed me, and first and foremost, God.
Amen. Thank you, Queen. And it's crazy because I appreciate the fact that, you all kind of started talking about some of the programming itself. So you talked about the community. So y'all literally fed 2 birds with 1 hand in that particular one. So I appreciate it. So let's get someone else as far as like, do you think prison, big homie, Bro Kings, do you think prison helped rehabilitate you? So we talked about the programs. Let's go back into being those forces that cell itself. Come on, brother.
No. Absolutely not. And this is why I say that. You have to be able to, or you have to have the desire to rehabilitate yourself. If you do not have the desire to really rehabilitate yourself, you won't come back home that same joker you left there. You have to have the desire to change. You have to be tired. You have to understand that life outside the walls have meaning and purpose. Because those of us who are incarcerated and those of us understand scripture, we understand the death, burial, and resurrection. When we went into prison, we did. We was buried in a place where you could only come to visit like it's a grave. Because it was a graveyard.
Make it plain, God.
In Revelations, it talks about being the habitation of every vile and hateful bird. And if you was into the Quran as a Muslim, you would understand that prison is a place of stone, men, jinn being demon. That's what we was. But we also know Jesus went into hell for 3 days. Prison is hell. And when you understand that and you desire to bust the gates open and come back out, you want to be a resurrected soul. Now you got to make a decision whether you want to be Lazarus and not have any other story to tell, or you want to be like Jesus and want to go heal somebody. It's a choice. So as brother said, choices. And I'm gonna cut this short. Jay Prince said it best. When you wake up, that's your chance. Now, what choices are you gonna make out of that?
Anybody else?
Well,
Thank you, sir.
when I was lucky enough to go to the boot camp program when I went to the boot camp program in Cohana. And I will say that going to prison actually did help me because it showed me what I don't want. I'm in there with people who are 40 years old or older than me, and they're upset about, just going back and forth to jail. And you're starting to see things or being able to not just go outside your front door because you want to. And it's really started to show me, like, if I keep going down this path, this is going to be my life. Like, I might not get a 1 to 3, I might get something a lot heavier, and this is really going to be what my future is. And another thing, which is kind of on the flip side of what helped me and why prison helped me, it showed me that I can actually have an impact on other people. Because while I was in there, the job that I had was in the library, and I was a part of the peer tutor program. So I actually came up with the curriculum for the algebra part of teaching people to get their GED. And so it was one of the guys in my platoon. I mean, I don't want to call him a career criminal, but it was somebody who had a long record. But he came to me with tears in his eyes, like, bro, like, because of your class, I can go to my son and tell him, like, you got to finish because I finished. And in that moment, it helped me realize, like, I don't need to be here. I can actually be outside and help people and make an impact. And so it kind of helped me see that something that I should do when outside. So that's how prison helped me out.
Love you for sharing your perspective, King. Let's go there. We're gonna stay right there. And let's say, look, y'all flowing through the questions already. You want to say something before we flow? Go ahead, King.
Yeah, so just to build on what he was saying, to say whether or not jail is correctional or not is very random. A lot of people go and the results from it aren't really something you can measure. But there is measurability in the reform programs. There is a statistic that says that when a person is in jail, if they go to an associate's degree, they have 50% less chance to recidivize. If they get a bachelor's or a master's, or even a master's is almost 0%. And that's actually something you can say is it work or not. In my situation, I can't really tell you if it did work or not, because what I was doing before I went there, I actually had the opportunity to go to college for a year and be in a room full of people my age, coming from a similar situation as me, doing something and believing in themselves. And then to be in a box and you're listening to 40-year-old dudes talking about, they're having the same exact conversation as the 18-year-old. There's dudes in there that's been there longer than the CEO and the warden. They remember when there's parts of the jail that wasn't there and it just got built and it was there. They remember their life. And there used to be a thing of our generations, where were you at when 9/11, right? For people who are, consistently going out, that's how they remember their whole entire life. It's just like every monument was done behind these bars. But with education and with the reform, the statistics that should support it, it's there, it works. So.
Ooh, look, I appreciate you even jumping in there and sharing it, because there's a level of what you are. It was different perspectives, but the same knowledge of self and who you are and how you show up. So whether you're going in, not, whether you're being there, understanding where you are as far as college, and the fact that you use what you had to help somebody else, who we are as individuals, as far as greater access to the whole community, whether you're in prison or out. You feel me? So let's stay there when we talk about the community and the people and the love, right? And I'm gonna come here a little bit because I appreciate the energy there, but I'll make sure, you know what I mean? You're a panelist now, okay, bro. So people here have loved ones incarcerated. How can they support and show up and still love them for who they are?
I like it. We gotta go. I like that question.
And to be honest with you guys, I credit my whole holistic change to God and to my wife. I mean, when I say that, it's because being in jail, I mean, I was fortunate enough to marry my high school sweetheart. And jail was the first time that we weren't together, and I only had myself to rely on and depend on, and vice versa, where she had a kid and just herself. So it was a time where I got to know myself a little bit better, but also a time where I got to see who was really there for me in my corner. So when it comes to supporting people that are incarcerated, obviously it's the simple things like writing letters and phone calls and visits. But I think it's a little bit deeper than that, where it's the spiritual things of holding them accountable, growing yourself, and also setting a standard for them for when they come home. Right? Because a lot of times people come home, and jail can be a big organization and community where you meet other people that do drugs and sell drugs. You know, all of a sudden it's like, man, I can get you a better number. And when I came home, my wife was like, if you want to keep doing that, me and my daughter are out. And that realization helped me realize, like, I didn't want anything to ever put me in a position where I wouldn't be there for my daughter or my wife anymore. So setting that standard for your family members or your loved ones that may be incarcerated and holding them to that standard, holding them accountable and helping them raise their standard for themselves is a tremendous way to show support for somebody that's inside.
Anyone else?
I want to say something about adjustment.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
One of the things I don't think I got a chance to share is after doing so much prison time, which to me would be a minute amount of time compared to my sisters that I know that's still in there, like the lifers and some of my childhood friends who have a magnitude of time. I want to tell you about the adjustment. When I came back, I struggled with listening to the dogs bark. I struggled with I struggled with learning how to shut the bathroom door.
Love you, Peter.
I struggled with listening to the cars, horns. I just struggled with an adjustment. Because I went to prison at so young, I came back a grown woman. It was time to be grown. It was no longer allowing me to embrace the 16-year-old little girl who went to prison. What about the 7-year-old little girl that carried that pain before she went to prison?
Amen.
So I struggled with an adjustment. And I just want to give a shout out to my mom, Lillian, my sister Rachel, for being there for me. That when I did come back home, there was some times where my sister, they were a little younger, they said to me like, Mom, Peaches, she don't shut the bathroom door. Like, shut the bathroom door. And I had to, my mom explained to them, I've never been in prison, but just be patient with her. I didn't really know, but I just want to talk to y'all about the adjustment. But what helped me with the adjustment of returning back from prison was allow myself to remember the tools I was taught in prison that helped me, and then the support that I had when I came out, like these programs that I wanted to be resistant to, like the reentry program. When Judge Kennedy pulled me in that program, I was like, I made pre-release. I'm not like these guys. And I just got done, I got a job, and I'm in the Atkins house. I got kicked out of the Atkins house, not by trouble, by being that good at what I was doing and becoming a better person. So I want to share with you. Thank y'all for understanding my emotions, but I want to let you know it is such, we talked about a lot of things, but something impacted me that you said and Commissioner Muldrow said, Margaret, Mr. Campbell, Marquise, Cash, Jordan, and Suli, all the things that y'all were saying today, I want to let y'all know that I've been just having so much of a trigger about when I came back. So please keep in mind that all that we're doing is, this is an emotional time for us, especially me, and the return back in. So if you are one that goes away, remember the impact of the community. We need help with adjusting back to the community. We need help with not going to jail, and we need help when we get out of jail, adjusting.
Right. Yo, Queen, I love you, and thank you for sharing. Because I think we want to close with that one. As far as like the class, as far as like the mental health, you talked about that, and you said the triggers. Last year my brother came home, 15 and a half years. And if you fulfill it, especially Southwest, you know, they call him a trolley tracer. They call him a trolley tracer. He literally runs behind trolleys and literally, like, you see what I'm saying? Long story short. And
just checking in on them, you know, like a mill, like I'm chasing these demons now, you feel me? So there's a lot that we're kind of going through and working through as like, you know, some of the things I went through when we were younger. You talk about that abuse and, you know, just healing that inner child, you feel me? So I honor you, Queen. So and thank God for my wife being here because there was a level of support. I tell people, you don't know me. My queen and my 2 kids was everything. They gave me focus and my purpose. And this is why another reason why I honor the Bro King, because TP3 going into the 4 and however many more came. It's a beautiful thing. How many times will you see a black man uplift their family? So let's close. Whether it be, one last look, man. Perfect time. Perfect time. Let's do it like this then. 1 minute to win it. Let's wrap up. Like I'm the type of person, like we got questions, but feeling the energy. You know, I'm talking about the mental health, but like just one word of wisdom as far as right now in this moment, whether it be the young people, whether it be the practitioners and the officials, or just you speaking life into who you are. You feel me? Let's just take one round of 30 seconds and just kind of go and close out. All right?
I say you're qualified, you're qualified, you're qualified, you're qualified. A lot of times coming from the inner city, you don't see the example of doctors, lawyers, who may not have ever, this is like, I'm a grown man, it's the first time I've ever been this close to a commissioner before without it being a negative situation. So a lot of times you walk into rooms and you might have imposter syndrome or might feel as though you don't belong here, but trust me, you are qualified as much as anybody.
I want to speak to, you know, the kids in our community and just everybody in general. You know, we talk about choices. One of the things that helped me change is my mom told me I was being selfish the 4th time I went back to jail. She said, your 3-year-old daughter is suffering depression because she loves you when you're here, but when you go away, she feels it. I had to realize I had to stop being selfish. So to the kids out there, your choices don't just affect you. Be mindful your choices affect others. We had a breakout session. A mom was in the hallway feeling it because her son is locked up. She feels like she's incarcerated with him. So your choices don't just affect you. Let's be mindful. Your choices affect your whole community. And let's make better choices and keep loving ourselves and doing right. Thank you.
I like to go. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna give this one to most of the Advantage Program kids, but I'm pretty sure we can take something from it. Piss poor preparation promotes pain. And so I say that to say it's like, right now you guys have your whole life in front of you to decide what you want to be, how you want to go about doing it, and what kind of life you want to have. So the more you think about it, the more detail you go into it, the more you prepare, the less pain you're going to have in life. So it's really think about what you want to do, and that goes with decision making, that go with, you know, just everything you plan on doing. The deeper, the harder you plan, the better things will be, because less will be left up to chance, and more will just be, all right, I'm prepared for this moment, I'm ready for this, so I can just step into it with confidence, instead of just, I don't know what's going to happen. So yeah, piss poor preparation promotes pain.
I want to thank God, and I say that for a reason. How many of you remember the movie The Lion King? I want to thank God because I met my Nala. If I did not meet my Nala, Scar would have won. Because in prison and in our community is a lot of bitterness amongst us. We were taught how to do jail time, how to go to prison. So we had Scar in our life. Interesting name, Scar. But because I met my Nala, I become Mufasa. And when I became Mufasa, I was able to roar and help other brothers roar. So I am grateful to God for blessing me with my Nala. And to you brothers that are married up here, You have met your now. And that's why you are who you are. And if you're not married, then I pray that you meet your now. And Miss Peaches, oh, you now are all day.
Come on, Queen. Yeah.
Know that. Live that. We already know you, sis. So I want to say that.
What I wanted to say is order, direction, and structure. I also want to say I am you, you are me. Healthy expression, learn how to identify feelings. When somebody asks you how you doing, it's not okay. Learn that feelings chart. Tap into understanding what it is. Once you can identify your emotions, you know what to do with them. You know how to express them. And if you're mad at the ice cream truck man because he can come down your street, you don't take it out on the Turkey Hill man, icy person. Okay, make sure you redirect that what I call displaced anger or displaced emotions. So my knowledge to you, and I want to let you know, use your shining stars. Find your light, shine so bright. We can always do it, and we'll always stay tight. God bless you.
So I believe that it takes a village. And I would like all of us to leave with that understanding that someone who was in our group asked about how families deal with individuals battling with the disease of addiction. It also comes with people coming out of jail. Like, it takes a village, and there needs to be a level of grace and mercy bestowed upon the good people that make bad decisions. And I have found that family is usually the hardest people to win over coming back from those bad decisions, because we have burned the bridges like 11 times, right? So we have to work harder. But I ask the family members to understand, especially when you're dealing with individuals that are battling with the disease of addiction, that you align that with the idea that the disease of addiction is just like the disease of diabetes or the disease of cancer or high blood pressure. Like, the same way you treat those family members with those problems is the same love and grace that you give the individuals battling with the mental health and the substance use disorder. It's a fight every day for people to sometimes get out of their beds. So to keep it moving, it's important to stay in prayer, stay engaged, to stay empowered, stay informed, and stay together.
My message to everyone in this room is be great. Everyone has greatness in you. And sometimes going through different experiences in life, to the young man, to the young woman in here, to us mature grown folks in here, it brings forth greatness. To the young men and young women in here, as well as the adults, that dream you want to go and do, that thing that you want to be when you grow up, that dream job, that dream athlete, the scientist, the barber, go get it. When I tell you, it's literally sitting right here on the table for you, waiting for you to step up and be great. It's right there. And I know the young people can't wait till they get older. That's great. That's greatness. But you have to make great decisions. You have to make great sacrifices. You have to make some great choices. And those are the choices that's going to lead you to your greatness. The blessing in it all, when you arrive to your greatness, you're going to feel good about it. You're also going to be, bruised up a little bit. Because on the road to greatness, you're going to fall down. So I say, if you fall down, get back up and be great again. Everybody on this panel, everybody in this room, from the commissioner to the judge, TP, to me, to everyone, we all fell down at some point in time in our life, but we got back up so we can be great and serve our purpose. Everyone in this room has greatness, especially the youth. You have greatness in you. You are the future. And us adults, we are the future for the time that we have left. And we still got a bunch of greatness in us. So my word for you and everyone in here is to be great. And whatever that looks like, whatever that goal, that dream is, study it, practice it, get around the people that's gonna elevate you, help you grow in that area to be great. Because I tell you like this, 10 years ago, I was sleeping on the street homeless with nothing. I hung around the people that did the same things that I did, which was drugs and alcohol. But today, I was just at Jason Kelsey's crib, a couple months ago, in his movie room, one of his houses. That's because I got up and I did the hard work. I fell down many times, but I got greatness in me. And I know you guys got greatness in you, so I can't wait to read the paper or see the news or whatever to see what y'all come up with. And I know it's gonna be great, because I feel the energy. And I'm just happy to meet everybody and be a part of this greatness today. Thank you, TP, for having me.
Take us home, and I feel the energy in the room. I feel like God's here, because as you guys are talking, I'm having flashbacks to sitting in prison and whatnot. So the thought that I had was, you never know what you'll say to somebody that will impact them. So don't hold your tongue for anybody, because I still remember sitting in jail, depressed, and my wife used to always just tell me, focus on the light at the end of the tunnel. And it was that faith, that hope that, made me keep going. Because the first time I went to jail, going upstate, like I wasn't really expecting that. And like, you feel that weight of letting your family down and whatnot, and just being able to focus on that light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm pretty sure she told me that. She wasn't thinking it was like super inspirational. It wasn't super motivational, but it was dark days. That's kind of what got me through. So you never know what you say to somebody that's gonna impact them or inspire them or motivate them. But don't hold your tongue, speak it and say it.
Yeah. Can we give them some love just by standing ovation, please, y'all? Yeah, give it to them, y'all. Give it to them. I really appreciate y'all. All scripted and all. Thank you for saying your heart.
Sorry, I try not to get too emotional. Next up, we're gonna have our very own District Attorney, Dave Sunday. Dave's desire to serve began at the age of 18 when he was enlisted in the United States Navy, serving multiple tours abroad. Following his service to our country, Dave received his finance degree from Penn State University. It was during this time that Dave's strong work ethic was born, working his way up from UPS delivery driver to running the finance department and being tasked with the oversight of $200 million budgets. While working at UPS, Dave received his Juris Doctorate by attending night classes at Widener Law. After brief stints at the United Nations in a private practice, Dave moved back to York and began a clerkship to the Honorable Joseph C. Adams. It was in late 2009 when Dave would be hired by former District Attorney H. Stanley Robert that his prosecutorial journey began. Dave would quickly rise to Chief Deputy Prosecutor under District Attorney Tom Kearney due to his unparalleled work ethic and courtroom prowess. In 2013, Dave worked with Coroner Pam Gay to establish the York County Heroin Task Force, now the York Opioid Collaborative. It was during this time spent in the community that Dave realized the impact he could have when seeking to maximize public and private partnerships. Dave now serves on the Board of Directors for York Opioid Collaborative, the Criminal Justice Advisory Board, and the York County Prison Board, and Better York Abroad. Dave, his wife, and their son currently reside in Spring Garden Township. And for those of you that didn't know, our District Attorney, Dave Sunday, is running for Attorney General of the state of Pennsylvania. All right. Guys, can you put your hands together and welcome Dave Sunday?
It's great to be here. I just want to say that I was supposed to speak this morning, and I was late. And if I wouldn't have been late, then I wouldn't have to follow Commissioner Muldrow, because I was sitting back there listening to him, and I was like, oh my God, I hate following him. It's the worst. So, and the other reason is because he's so good. That's the reason. But no, it's an honor to be here. I know it's been a long and awesome day for everybody, so I'll try to make this as pretty quick. But that being said, I wasn't sure what I was going to say until I got up here. My son, who I brought with me today, he on the way over here, he asked me if I wanted him to check my speech and make sure it was okay. And I said, well, I don't have one. We'll see what happens when I get there. So, I've been a prosecutor now for 16 years here in York. And so, the most of my time leading up to being elected DA was spent in the courtroom doing murder trials. Tons of murder, more than I could even, want to talk about. And the reality is, for me, as I went through my process of trying cases and seeing people go to prison for life, I'll never forget when my perspective on everything changed. I'm not going to say what case it was, but I had a case where a young man who he was 16 when he committed the murder, but then he was 18 when we prosecuted him. And he went to jail for life. And I'll never forget, I was standing in the courtroom, and behind the prosecution side, it was a whole packed house, right? Whole packed house, ready to see, just to support the victim's family. And I looked at this young man, and he was sentenced to life, never to return. And I looked behind him, and there wasn't one person there that day to see him off. And I know when I was 18, I would have been crying like a baby. I would have been, I don't know what I would have done. And he just sat there stone-faced and just walked away, never come back. And I never forgot that. And, if you ever see the news interview me after after I don't do trials anymore, but when I did, you never heard me jump up and down for joy, because the reality is, at the end of a trial, you can't put families back together. Someone's going away, they're not coming back. It's just the worst thing in the world. And so, I was listening to you a lot. I was here for the panel before this, and I was listening to everybody, and I heard a lot of words that were to the young men in the room. And what I heard a lot of was almost I want you to believe in yourself. You need to understand that you can achieve goals, you can do things, you can believe in yourself. And I was thinking about it because I'm running for a statewide office, and I'm going all over Pennsylvania, every single county. I'm talking to people on the national level, and we're doing all these things. And do you know that one of the main things I talk about to everyone that wants to listen is the work we do together in York, and in particular, the lessons I've learned from Commissioner Muldrow and from Jamil and from Margaret. She probably doesn't even remember, but 10 years ago, she yelled at me pretty ferociously. You probably don't remember, do you? You did. We'll talk about it later. And Tavon and the Advantage program. And so when I look at my entire career as an attorney, the gifts that I carry with me and the things that have made me have the energy to do what I do are literally from the people in this room. And it is a God's honest truth. When you look at our criminal justice policy, mine is called accountability and redemption, because you have to have both. You have to have accountability, and that means a lot of different things. That could mean boot camp. It could mean an apology letter, right? It could mean a lot of different things. But at the same time, if we don't embrace redemption as a society, where are we going to be? We're going to be toast. And I tell people that everywhere I go, because we have to embrace redemption. And to your point, when I think of if someone has value, I think of the impact that they've had. And when I think about impact, when you change, and people in here know that, county government, I know our judge in here, Judge Kraft, would agree with me. When you talk about county government, things don't really move that fast, right? But to that point, on Thursday of this week, I had the pure joy and blessing to stand at a ribbon cutting for the first of its kind in Pennsylvania Reentry Opportunity Center at the York County Prison. And the reason why things like that exist are because of the people in this room. So if anyone ever tells you that you don't have value or you don't have input or you don't have impact, you have the most impact and you have the most value, and you are changing this world in a way that most people could never, ever imagine. And I can't be more sincere about that. I mean, you look at the Reentry Opportunity Center, that the whole goal is so people, when they come out of prison, to be able to be just fantastic members of society, take care of their family, get jobs, and just be the next leaders in the future. And that's what I believe as a district attorney. I know that a lot of people probably, I don't know what you thought when the DA walked up here, but but the reality is our goal is public safety. Our goal is to make sure that everyone is safe and that comes through families and relationships. And, I've done my share of prosecuting very serious trials for a long, long time. But I can tell you very simply, there's a place for that. But there's just as equal of a place for doing what we can to keep families together and to help people to be productive members of society. Because, I learned, and I have learned more from you, Tavon, and everyone. There's a lot of people that aren't in here that I can go through, but just remember that you have more impact than you could ever imagine. And there are so many people out there that have become better people from working together and doing it the way that we do it. And so I can tell you right now, one other point I want to make is, I think that the DA's office down the road is going to need some more prosecutors for sure. So my hope is that we have a lot of future lawyers sitting right over here that might want to someday stand in the courtroom and get after it. So hopefully that's the case. We'll see. Or defense attorneys. So I just want to thank everyone. I'm going to stick around if anyone wants to talk about anything specific, but I just want to tell you how grateful I am for everything you do. And the reality is we're all in this together, every single one of us. We can't do anything if we don't do it as a team. You either win as a team or you don't. And that's what we are as a community. And so thank you, everybody. I hope everybody has an awesome, wonderful day. And God bless.
So we'll have one more panel session before we close out for the day. And one of my favorite Advantage kids is going to facilitate part of this panel. Some of you guys may know him as the dancer in the program. He went to one of my cousin's birthday parties and he had some very good dance moves. Come on. He had some really good dance moves. My brother Jordan knows him as his little cousin, even though he's taller than him now. And some of us know him as the funny guy, but he likes to crack jokes. But he's a very good kid. Attends York Academy, gets good grades, and is the apple of his grandmother's eye. So can you guys put your hands together to welcome Xavier to the stage?
Hi guys. There's a list of a couple questions, but I can only ask two. So, during prison, what was your average day like?
So I added this question on there. I made a list of 5 questions to let him pick 2, but a lot of times I know personally growing up was like a fascination with prison. Right, like you see it on the TV, you see it in movies, like you watch what's that movie with BMF? All these movies with Lion and Lucius and stuff, and everything looks so cool. So a lot of times when these kids are doing things, they're thinking that they're going to some cool place and it's like a big hangout. But I realized everybody has different prison experiences, so I wanted to I'll put this question on there so we can kind of share with the audience what the reality is.
Okay, I'll answer that for you. So first I'm gonna say it was rough. It was rough, right? Let me ask you this question first, real quick. I mean, I know I'm not flawed, but it's a pretty decent attitude outfit, right? All right. So I have to change that and put on this. So that was, I hated putting this on, right? I put this on for years. And then I was missing my family. Then I was locked in a cage with another man. Had to use the bathroom and ask him to put the sheet up or put the sheet up while I used the bathroom. I have funny eating habits, so I'm on a special diet list when I go to prison. And until that comes from Harrisburg, my paperwork, I'm struggling with eating, right? Especially if I get you might have just got shipped to a new jail and I didn't get to go to commissary yet. So now I go to the chow hall. I was at Q-Hannah. I had to get out of there because my paperwork didn't come. So when you go through Q-Hannah, right, you go through the list, you go through, they say, what do you want, minimum, maximum? You going across the line for your food? I said, you got special diet for Hill? He said, nope, your paperwork didn't come yet. I'm like this, I go, don't give me nothing. Don't give me nothing. No paper, no special diet? Nope, don't give me nothing. And then I remember I turned around, you gotta like spin around, and the drill sergeant said, Hill, you're going to see the psych. Because you come in here every day, you're not eating. I said, until I get my paperwork, I'll die. Because I don't eat mashed potatoes. I was a vegetarian, I don't eat meat. So I'm like, until y'all get my special diet paperwork, I'll die before I eat this stuff. So it was miserable. And I don't encourage I tell nobody there's no place you want to be.
So the first time I ever went to jail, right? I wrote a check for a car, didn't have the money. Anywho, I was in New York when they found me. I was where I grew up. I was at, and I remember, long story short, they were going to take me to Rikers. So I called my aunt in tears. They're taking me to Rikers Island. She was like, don't talk to nobody, don't look at nobody, don't say nothing smart. And one of the officers heard me say that I had to go to jail. And she felt sorry for me because I just didn't look like I belonged in jail at that time. And they put me in PC. So usually people in PC are the people that tell on people, right? So I get on the bus going across and I'm on the other side of the gate, you got the thing. And they were like, well, who you telling on? I said, huh? Because you just never know, right? But those 2 weeks that I had to sit here waiting to go back to Maryland, was interesting. So I say that to say this, like, don't go to jail. Like, that's the hit to the story. Don't go to jail, no matter where you are, because it's crazy.
Okay. Jail is the easy part because a lot of times you got guys that play superheroes. They're the toughest thing in prison. In the jail. They get their time, they get soft, they get a little quiet. Now you go to prison. I went to maximums. That means that I was with the worst of the worst. Now, I'm gonna give you 2 quick scenarios. One, because I'm seeing you right now, but I'm gonna give you the other part first. When you leave jail, they shackle you. They put the little black box. When you get to receiving, at the time of VA, when you get to receiving, you come through, they take the chains off, they strip you of everything. So now you're standing in front of other men naked. They tell you to get into this cold shower. After you get out of this cold shower, I forgot part. When you get out there, they tell you to strip down. They either want to tell you 1 or 2 things. Cough or squat and cough, or bend over at your waist and open your cheeks up so they can see your anal hole. Then they put you into the coldest shower you ever gonna take. When you come out of that cold shower, they spray you down with a pesticide from the neck all the way down, and they make you turn around and spray you again. Then they're not even gonna give you any fresh wipes. They're gonna give you some old dingy drawers, either a size too big or a size too small, with a little teeny weeny t-shirt. And then they're gonna ask you your name and give you a number. That's one. How old are you?
16.
Oh, you just don't wanna go. 16-year-olds, depending on the crime you committed, you're gonna go in there. Where I'm at, or where I was doing time, was savage. They wanna talk about how nice your hair is. They're gonna talk about your complexion. And they're gonna look at you and how thin, and they're gonna say, what's your name? Xavier. They're gonna give you a female name. And depending on the amount of time you have, you're gonna have to make one or two choices. The one that deals with you is either gonna make you his wife and try to impregnate you, or the type of time you have, you're gonna have to carry a knife and you'll never go home. Two choices. Two choices. I tell you that because I look at you as a Lord. And I don't never want to see you ever do that, do any of that that will put you in that scenario. I want you to live your life. I went to prison at 24. I told you I was a savage. I was nothing nice. I came home at 50. I'm 57. Stay home and live your life. And
We have time for one more.
If both of you guys want to go, then he'll forego the second question,
Okay.
or we can do the second question.
Who's that question?
All right, you got the second question?
What crimes do you think people should be jailed for? What crimes do you think people should be jailed for?
Like what actually deserves like jail sentencing?
Yeah, but just
I'm not a judge, I answer that. to put judgment on someone else's life.
So the reason that this question was on there was because sometimes you hear people, obviously we're talking about the justice system, sometimes you hear people say that smaller crimes shouldn't be jailed for, more serious and heinous crimes should be the only reason people go to jail. So it's just one of your opinions of what do you think? Obviously there's mandatory minimums and stuff like that, but in your opinion, is there things that people should or shouldn't go to jail for?
Can I say? Well, now that I'm older and more mature, I believe, just like Tavon just said, that every crime you commit, it has certain punishments. Bottom line is, don't commit no crime, because why put yourself in that situation to be jailed? Because any crime you commit, it carries some kind of punishment if you're caught, rather be a citation. You might get probation, a summary report, up into life in jail, up to, a death penalty. So all of them bears the burden of some kind of form of punishment. And the reality is, you don't want, it's nothing like TV. It's nothing like TV. Even on the juvenile level, I've came across some people that was just receiving stolen property, and they shouldn't have been in jail at all. But you gotta understand that there's systems in place. But that's another conversation. But if you do the crime, do the time, take it, period. The thing is, stay away from all of it. All of it, because it can start off with just stealing a piece of candy, then now you robbing banks. Because it grows, the enemy grows, the devil grows. You get away with that, you're gonna get away with more. You're gonna, it just elevates, it keeps elevating. So I believe all crimes deserve some kind of punishment. There should be some kind of repercussions, because it'll prevent people, young and old, from doing them. So that's just my opinion, and that's just how I feel.
So this to me is a very touchy situation. Conversation. So I don't feel like I deem the right to say who deserves to go to jail for crimes, but I would say there's a lot of crimes that are happening, such like parking tickets such like misdemeanor forms that are costing people prison time, and they should be actually not in prison, but maybe it takes on the circumstances of the charge itself. The charge itself should be looked at, and then the behavior which allowed the case to happen. I think when you think of straight right out murder, I would say a lot of our youth are enslaved, and right now our Black men and Black women, if you know anything about slavery, we are in slavery right now. It's modern day slavery. In slavery of victimizing our own people that look like us. For the young So I would say when it comes to murder, depending on, for me, if I feel like someone defended themselves, protected their family, I don't really think that person, because they ended up killing someone, not making it right, because I believe in the word of God, of taking a life. I'm saying, I don't know if someone that killed someone because they were defending or protecting as an attack should go right to jail. Or if they do, I think it should be some type of therapy behind the trauma they went through, even taking a life. But if you were cold, right out, born right, killer, don't care, die, push, pull the trigger, that means you have no soul left in your life and you deserve to sit down and do some time, but it depends on the maturity of your age, if I know you even really knew what you were doing. When I think about child molestation, rape, sex trafficking and stuff like that, I would say, yes, most people who are doing it have the right state of mind, knowing that was right from wrong, and should be accountable for some jail time. But again, I don't know if they were like, when I went out to the YDC, I learned that, and I'm not talking about anyone particularly, I'm talking about a child that father was watching a pornography all with him, and he thought it was just normal to violate women, and then now became a rapist, so they say. It's the circumstances that we are presented to us that allows us to become either criminal act or criminal mind. So what I would like to say is when you tap into that mental health, Kiona, Duncan, yes, when we tap into the mental health awareness, it allows us to, if we can tap into the mental health, I think we can really save a lot of time in incarceration and who we are incarcerating and how we are impacting them through incarceration. Is incarceration just about prison? And I just want to go back and say this, because he shared a lot about how his prison time was. Prison time can be a lot of different ways, but I just got to say this. Prison time for me is being woken up every day at 6 a.m. You better stay up for county, you're going to the hole. You better follow your last order, your first order, your direct order, or you violate authority, which takes you to the hole, or writing. You're going to whatever structure you didn't listen to out here with your mothers and your parents and your fathers, in the churches and the schools, you will learn that in prison. You either going to be defiant to it, resistant to it, or intrusive. So I wanted to touch back on that because I know we all had our own scenario of it, but I wanted to say, and what else? It was one more crime I wanted to speak on. Drug-inflicted addiction. So people are not in their right state of mind when they're on drugs and commit crime. So I just feel like we got to take, I think, with the advantage program and reform program and reentry, we got to take a look at, I'm not saying we should not be held accountable, full accountability, always. It is the actual act of the mind when the crime is committed that we need to take in consideration and stop falling victim to in slavery, which a form of slavery is not the white man calling you to a black man. And slavery is what's going on in our youth and in our community right now. And say in slavery by killing each other, killing your own kind, killing your own brother, killing your own, put the guns down and allow yourself to learn how to effectively communicate.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So I'm going to get us out of here. So each of you take 1 minute to answer this final question. I just want you guys to take 1 minute to answer this final question. But what role did God, Allah, what role did He play in where you're at now in your life? And obviously, all of us have been to prison, out of prison, but I